Hi, everybody, and welcome to another session of Flex and Reflect Sunday Sit Down. I have got some great questions today, so thank you for sending those in. So we're going to tear straight into them. Actually, before we do that, we're 4 weeks down in January 2024. I hope that you are already taking some massive action in terms of your health and wellness, and doesn't matter where you are, if you're edging yourself further and further closer to where it is that you want to be and taking those daily little actions, that's what's really going to set you apart from where you are to where it is that you want to get to. And if you keep doing that every day, this time in 365, not this day, in 365 days, or 366, given it's a leap year, you'll be a completely different person. So, question one. What's one unexpected lesson you've learnt on your journey towards optimal health and fitness that you think would benefit others? So, great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that, actually. So when I first started my own personal journey, it was about the physical aspects. It's like, how do I change the shape of my body? How do I get strong? Actually, strength probably wasn't it to begin with, because it was about how do I look better? How do I get bigger muscles? And obviously then learning that I needed to obviously get a lot stronger to do that and then fuel my body. And like before I went into the gym, I knew that I needed to eat differently. I knew I needed to be doing things that I just wasn't ever or hadn't ever done before. And I guess it was probably a few years along that journey before I realized that it had everything to do with my mindset, and everything that I wanted was controllable by me, and thinking about what is going to keep me going to the gym and doing those sessions, what is going to keep me eating that type of food. And then over time, as I've refined my training and refined the food that I eat, and as you get older and you're finding pardon me, like new ways to be able to keep your body keeping on moving. So I was fortunate to go to a Tom Brady event last night, and if you look at what he was talking about, I think the average quarterback was like in the NFL for like 3 years, and he was in it for like 23. And the difference, and how he realized the work that he needed to put into his body, and like obviously nutrition and everything, as well as taking care of it outside of the heavy training and all that kind of stuff, so that he could maintain his body in a place that enabled him to perform week after week and year after year, where most people have just failed. And a big part of that is your headspace and how you think about all of that. So I think that's probably was the unexpected journey that I've had, and just realizing that what gets people to achieve incredible success and what doesn't is the same. And that is, it comes down to the mindset and the communication that you have with yourself. Obviously, there's the people you surround yourself and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of, and the coaching, but you're only going to do that from the mindset that you've got. So I'd say that's probably the biggest one, the mindset, and just how important that is in driving you. Which is why, if you listen to my podcasts and you're following me for a while, it's why I talk so much about making you a better person, a better version of yourself each and every day. Do those things to grow yourself every single day. Do those things to grow your mindset, to become a better person, to learn some new skills. And then what you'll find is you become happier at life, but you become better at skills, and you become more successful as a result of that. Okay, next question. I've got 10 questions here today, so I kind of summarize them to 10, and then I'll pick out 5 here. That one's kind of the same. So what's the most underrated aspect of fitness and wellness that people often overlook? And again, I'd say that's the mindset. People think, I just need somebody to push me. I need somebody to give me the right program, and I can do the rest. And then it falls away pretty quickly after that. That next question is kind of the same. So this is an interesting one. How do you envisage the future of health and the health and fitness industry, and what role does Studio's personal training play in it? Yeah, another interesting question, because if you think about, so I first started training in 1988, and so a gym that existed back then was very different to what it is now in some ways. So I've seen a lot over 36 years of change, and that's from like when I first started training, and gyms weren't open all the time. There was no such thing as a 24/7 operation. Some gyms were closed on Sundays. Some gyms didn't open till it was like 6 a.m. till like 9:30 p.m. or 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. You could find some facilities open till, and the types of equipment that existed back in the 80s was different to now. There's a whole bunch of different machines and things, but your traditional things that we should be using more of are things like just your benches, whether they be flat, incline, barbells, dumbbells. Like kettlebells weren't really a thing back in the 1980s, not in the gyms that I trained in anyway. I never saw a kettlebell until probably, late 1990s. So the concept of where we work out has changed. And then if you think about the number of gyms that have popped up everywhere, they used to be like great big things. And now, I mean, we've got a few big ones around here. But then you've got these kind of little ones, like the franchise brands, like your Anytime, in Australia anyway, like your Anytime Fitness, your Snap Fitness, your Jets, and various other ones that they're, maybe they're 200 square meters, maybe around that, maybe a little bit more. They're designed for kind of like the mum and dad people that are working out. I would say, not your serious, like bodybuilder or power lifter. They just don't have the equipment to do that. So that has changed. Obviously, we've had all things like this, your devices. They didn't exist in the 80s, and then what started to exist probably in the 90s were those the pedometers, the little click-on ones like this that you'd stick on your belt, and they'd have a little thing in there that would click up every time it moved enough to, pardon me, to click over the steps. And they had those, and now we've got apps for all kinds of different health and wellness things for tracking and stuff. There's one like on my phone, it automatically tracks the steps and everything, and other health data as well. There are so many different online programs, which the internet wasn't really existing when I was when I started training back in '88. It just those sorts of things didn't exist, so that's very different. And so if I think about the way of the future, so again, when I first started training, the only person I knew that had a personal trainer in their life was Madonna. That was the first person that I heard that ever had a personal trainer, and now there's millions of them around the world. One of the problems I find with the industry is the qualification is very easy to get, and we don't necessarily have this might be a bit controversial, but we don't necessarily have the right people in the industry that give the industry a good name. And because I guess, one, it's an easy qualification to get, and you can get it quickly. And I guess I find that we live in a more and more inauthentic world, and that means that we have a lot of people that fake how good they are at stuff, and people talk a big game, but the reality is, well, show me your results, and you can see whether it's real or not. And I think one of the problems is the average personal trainer here in the US makes somewhere between $25,000 to $50,000 a year, and they do it as a hobby because they can't see how they can run it as a business. And a lot of people that get into it shouldn't be in business, and they don't run it as a business. They run it as a hobby. They run it as a cash business as well, or a cash hobby, and they have another job on the side. And then you'll find after normally 18 months, a couple of years, they can't handle it anymore because they need more income coming in, so they go and do something else. So I think in the qualification process that people go through, they need to change it so there's more of a business focus as well. And yeah, where it's going to. So what I've seen, and like during COVID and then post-COVID, a lot of people have left the industry because of the reasons that I just said. They can't financially, it's just not viable for them. There is so much out there. I mean, AI is obviously changing things in the way that people integrate themselves with, like apps and the workouts at home and all that kind of stuff. But I think there's still a hunger for like that genuine contact, that genuine coach, that real conversations, real direction about how do you change your life, and that stuff that an app can't give you, a workout at home doesn't necessarily give you. And I can see that there will be more reliance on those key people that can, like myself, that can deliver first class results. But it's more than just the workout and the nutrition. It's more about like as I said at the start, it's the mindset. I think the mindset and the food are probably the toughest things, and then getting people to see that they just need to be progressing their life and seeing that health and wellness is part of your overall success in life. And if you get that right, the rest of the things in your life will be certainly on the way to being much better as well. But I think there will be a movement more towards lifestyle and holistic health, as opposed to just the way that I want to look and that kind of thing. I think I've mentioned before that I do think the next, I suppose, global pandemic is going to be to do with mental health, and that is going to be the major concern of governments around the world. As it's getting worse and worse, just like overweight and obesity rates are getting worse and worse, but they're introducing medications to help sustain life. But it doesn't mean that people are pain-free and happy and all that kind of stuff. So I think people are looking, certainly when I'm noticing when people come to me, they do want that whole of life plan. It's how do I integrate it into my lifestyle? How do I create a healthy lifestyle? How do I improve my mindset? How do I keep that accountability in place, which is normally best with someone else? How do I learn more about those things to make myself better and better? Because let's face it, I just mentioned a whole bunch of things that are happening or have happened since the 80s in the health and fitness space. But if we were to compare it with the number of different ways that we can get crappy food into our body has changed and increased since the 1980s to now, like it would probably be tenfold or more, just because there's a lot of money to be made by people in that. So that means that we're getting less nutrients into our body, we're getting high calorie food, we're moving less, all that kind of stuff. So hence it's leading to some of those other problems. And when you've got a poor mental health as well, then it's all just manifesting to get worse and worse. So that's where I see the health and fitness industry kind of changing, that people wanting more, not just, okay, I want to work out and stuff. I want something that is more all-encompassing to change my life and make me a better person. Let me just do maybe one more. I've probably answered that one before. Okay. That's a good one. What's the best advice that you've received from a coach or a role model in your fitness and wellness journey? So the best advice that I've ever received, which I'm sure will be relevant to you, is from my current coach, JT, I spent some time with yesterday, is stop talking about it and get it done. So many people talk about, I don't have time, I'll do it next week, I'll start next month, I'll start after Christmas, I'll, X, Y, Z. But it's just talk. And I used to do it too. That procrastination habit that just creeps into our life. And it's a chapter of his book, last chapter of his book, Millionaire Underdog, which says stop talking about it and get it done. And that really resonated when I heard it for the first time. And I thought, yeah, do you know what? I was at the time I was writing Awaken the Sexy with him. And I kept pushing the date out by to the end of a year. So I'll finish it by 31 December and just change the year. I think I did that 3 times. Then one morning I woke up and I'm like, what are you doing? You're never going to get it done with that type of mindset. So I said, all right, I'm going to finish it in, I think I gave myself 12 weeks or 10 weeks. I said, I'm going to write every morning. I got up at 4:20. My excuse was I don't have the time. I'll write it every second weekend when I didn't have the kids and that kind of stuff. And I couldn't create the momentum. And so by doing this and creating that urgency for me, I got it done, and I did get it done within that time frame. Actually, I think I added an extra couple of weeks because as I was going through the process, I was going to make it much shorter, and I said, no, this is crazy. That I wasn't going to deliver everything that I wanted to, so I put an extra couple of weeks in there. Yeah, that is the greatest advice that I could give you, or the greatest advice I've ever received, and could say to you, like, stop procrastinating, stop talking about it, and get it done, and stop making up the excuses, and just do it, because you're worth it. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thanks for all the questions again. I might answer some of these maybe next week as well. All right, see you next time.